Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing wonderful. I'm very happy today. I'm excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, we are recording from this beautiful, really pretty cool. You can't see all the stuff. We got all this cool equipment. Like, I feel like important. Do you?
Yes.
I mean, we got all these cool lights and stuff and everything else. So we're recording from Gepar. But number two, I'm really excited because we've got Melissa here, Melissa Urbina, in our agent spotlight.
Literally in the spotlight.
Yeah,
Because
literally,
like,
we have
the lights,
spotlights.
the lighting's good. I'm like, oh.
You're too young for this, just don't like blinded by the light or something. I'm blinded by the light right now. I'm sure everybody can see my forehead's blinded by the light. We need a makeup artist next time. So,
Silly.
always. So let's get started. We've got a small group on the line, so people are still coming in. I want to do some agent fire because we've got a big story with Melissa. I want to make sure she has enough time. She has a hard stop. There is a board of directors meeting going on here at Gepar, which is one of the reasons why we're here. And I want to make sure that we can get her back in there so she can give them the information they may need. So first thing first, who has some fire to share? I know there's a lot of you got some fire to share, right? I know you do, but let's say, yeah, I want you to do. Who else has got some fire? Who's got either anything that's going on personally, professionally they want to share that's been a great thing for them this week. This is always the best part. I know. Where is Julia and Alberto when we need him or need them? But okay.
Okay, fire. When you say fire to share, does that mean industry related,
It can be
personal
anything,
related?
all the above. See.
It could be anything, right?
Yes.
So whatever happened today, you woke up blessed.
Yeah, this week. Yeah, what anything good happened this week? Business wise, personally, professionally, whatever.
Yeah.
You got something?
Well, I've been meeting a lot of shaking a lot of hands and kissing babies' foreheads, as you call it.
Mhm.
So I've been doing a lot of that recently, and developing new friendships and stuff. So our installation's coming up for the 2024 governing board of the Women's Council of Realtors. So we've gotten quite a bit of advertisers and sponsors that are excited about it, and I'm excited about it. My husband's gonna be doing the stables and some fences and
Really?
yeah, so
Wow. Okay, cool.
we came back from a training and put him back to work. I was like, all right. He was gone for about 3 months, and I said, finally you're back. Let's get to work. Start making some stuff.
So let's talk about that because you came by the office, was it Monday or Tuesday? You and Eileen came by, and I think Ruth was with you as well.
Yes.
How many offices did you guys hit this week? Do you even remember?
Well over 10.
10? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And so obviously they're promoting her installation. So for those that don't know, we're really getting into this already, but this is your fire. So we'll go ahead and do it. It's part of the announcements because I was going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Is November 9th. And is it from 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
Till 9?
Till 10.
Oh, till 10. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Want to make sure.
It's gonna be an epic rail yard.
Yes.
So yeah. What's different than just a hotel thing, and reserved that a couple of months back and said, I want more of a, wild west theme and district look. So
And tell me about that because I think so last year was very formal. Some people wearing tux. I think we did the Wyndham, something, right?
It was yes, the
Wyndham, yeah.
Mhm.
And so I mean this to me looks so much more, I hate to use the word epic, but epic than what the Wyndham was, and I think you probably agree, right?
Yeah.
It was fine.
We all have different characters. We have different
Right.
vision for what we want, and at the end, it still points to as long as we accomplish our program and get it done, get it done.
I love that you guys are doing kind of the Western theme. I mean, who was I talking to? Casa did that this last year. One of our 3 charities from HPRE Gives, and
Yeah,
they usually do a gala, and they did a Western gala as well, and they loved it. They're like,
Yeah.
this is like the way, because you get more attention. People don't feel like they have to get all stuffy and dressed up and everything. So
Yeah.
who
I don't know
was that your decision?
If you know me, I'm not the heels kind of person. I wish I could wear heels, and heels look beautiful on a lot of people, but I can't do heels. So I'll ask to walk in somewhere, and I better be seated all the time. And usually if there's music, I like to dance. So I usually wear my boots to a lot of places.
She's wearing her boots right now.
dressed up with a dress, and yes, we have my boots here.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty good. So 69. So here's what we've done, guys. We are Home Pros is one of the sponsors. I guess we are the main,
Main
one of the
sponsor,
main
yeah.
sponsor.
We call it the grandstand sponsor.
We're the grandstand. I like a grandstand a lot.
Yeah, the
No.
grandstand sponsor, and they're gonna be the new sheriffs in town.
We're the sheriffs in town. So we're gonna, so what we're doing is if you want to buy a ticket, whether you buy it through them or buy it directly through us, we're gonna make sure we try to assemble all the Home Pros people together. If you want us to buy you a ticket and then put it on your account, we can do that as well. So just let us know. But I think at some point we have to figure out, you know, we're gonna need the even numbers. Tables are either by 8 or by 10s, and of course, are they starting to fill up?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think for sure we're good for 10. We need to get that through. Like I know you already have 4 or 5 people I think that wanted to come sit.
Right, yes, I
Okay,
do, I
got
do
it.
have, well, I told them to call you as well, to get on your list of
No,
people, I
it's
think it was like, I think 6 more on your
Yeah.
table of 10, and then we're trying to get other people next to you, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get us a couple tables. That's what I'd like to do. And then so I think we'll try to get something out here this week, start really promoting that, pushing that, and going from there. So that's gonna be a huge fire.
I saw Princeton yesterday too, and I was telling, Marisa, is she on? Yeah.
Marisa, I don't know if she's on here, but yeah, Marisa.
Yeah, so I was telling her, so she was ready to go out there in Aron.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
sure they sent you the picture, we were at the Mortgage Bankers Association yesterday.
No.
Yeah,
we
it
didn't
was really
know.
nice, they're introducing a new board, so I'm getting started.
No, I saw Marisa at the bar yesterday, but that was about it. So
That was
anyway.
it. It was at work.
No, they were third hole, like 3 o'clock or something. 10, I walked over there to say hi. We're like, oh, this is what you guys do. Anyway, okay, fantastic. Who else has got some fire? Come on, guys.
It's like Jeopardy done.
I know.
Can you hear me?
I'll share some fire.
Can you hear
Oh.
me?
Yes, thank you.
I
Somebody
love your
saw
photo, you look so beautiful.
I heard
Alberto, give-
Alberto.
Marisol first, then Alberto. Ladies first, Alberto, and then yes, please. Love to hear.
All
Go for it, Marisol.
So it's outrageous the incentives, the incentives that new construction is offering right now. So lately, like the last 2 weeks, I've been hitting builders really hard with some clients, and I was able to get a client under contract. We're just waiting for the builder to sign and execute, but he was able to get his lease bought out. So just to share that with you guys, I mean, I haven't seen builders do this in a long time. They're doing not 3 but 6% contribution. Pat is running some. I'm showing her builder again today. I mean, interest rate buy down plus washer and dryer plus stainless steel appliances plus
Awesome.
closing costs. It's crazy. So that's my fire, like showing new construction, making my clients happy when that is their interest. If they want new construction, then, you know, there's a lot of good incentives out there.
That is true. That
I love that. So I was talking, any of my Princeton people, I'm sorry, but I was talking to Jenna the other night from Cadence at the Rise event. This was Wednesday. I think Minerva's on the call. She did a great Rise event, and oh, she's upstairs. Yeah. So anyway, I was talking to Jenna, and I mean, we were talking about the blocks of money that these builders or really lenders are buying. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars, and then they'll literally release them at these rates at 5.8 or whatever we've seen them at, and then boom, I mean, they're out, and then they got to start over. They got to go buy more. So it is insane, the risk, but the creativity. And my hat's off to them. And you know, I mean, this is all short-lived. It's obviously where most of that money comes. It's coming from the builders back to the contribution, so they are getting paid back. But they are the ones warehousing it and taking the risk. The lenders are, and that, or at least that's my understanding of it, and that's pretty amazing.
I wanted to touch a little bit about what Marisa was talking about with the new contractors or new home builders. I also took a cash deal buyer, and you know, a lot of our contractors were maybe giving them 2% or not even any incentives to cash in the past. And so now this time I took the cash, it was like they got a discount. But on top of that, they had already price reduced to 10,000. So instead of like 2%, it was like a $10,000 drop. So they got almost $20,000 off in both, like in 5 days. So that was
amazing. And I think what's really cool about this before, some of the builders weren't giving the they didn't have the offering as far as a preferred lender and stuff. So they would say, well, we'll give you 6%, right? But at the end of the day, if they're getting any type of conventional financing, they may not be able to use all of that. And so it might only be the allowables. And so, the downside for the consumer would be is, oh, you can only use 4% or 2% or whatever it may be, right? And that kind of sucks. And so, of course, we need to be really careful when we're out representing people, that we figure out how to maximize that. And maybe to your point, kind of thinking outside the box, well, do we need to get some other, if either discounts off the house, which a lot of times the builders don't want because they want the appraisals in,
Right.
or they're gonna figure out how to throw in some extras.
Oh, they're
my
getting the
son.
appraisal in, so the price was there, and yes, commission was on the price.
Yeah, of course.
So,
of course.
yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
working good. They found a way to make it work.
Love it.
It's a win-win right now.
Good. Alberto, you are up, sir.
How are you?
Are you in London? Are you in Harry Potter world?
He's,
I love it.
I know, right? Where are you today, Alberto? He's not at a Tom Ferry presentation. Alberto?
No, I'm here at the office, but I was sorry. So the whole computer set it up, and so I have to download the programs, even the one for Zoom and the camera and everything. So that's why I'm like 7 minutes behind. So anyways, no, I just want to share that I was, able to get a couple of listings this month, but all of them actually are from past clients, and it's just the consistency that I've been putting out to them, whether it's those, marketing pieces that I send out every month, or the consistency that every single week that I'm sending Saturdays and Sundays, depending on the segment, I'm sending those emails, very nice professional emails. And so that's what I want to share. So I got very nice listings that I'm hoping, well, I'm pretty sure they will close by the end of the year. So I'm really, really hoping. And I was noticing one thing, that I had already listed and closed some of them, 5 listings this year, and of those 5 listings, well, I had many, right? But these particular 5 listings, they were from buyers who purchased a house during COVID. So within the last 2 years, they have bought and sold. And so they're sellers, that even though they got the rate at 3 or 4%, they close. So yeah, that's what I want to share. We just gotta be consistent on whatever we're doing, whether it's marketing, door knocking, mailers, past clients, everything. We just gotta be consistent.
My hat's off to you, Alberto.
Yeah.
You do, your consistency is key, and you are the master of it. So I applaud you on that.
Discipline, consistency. I mean, it's I was speaking to someone yesterday, and that was one of the things I just said, you got to be there, but that's the most important part. If you're not there, then you're not getting the opportunity. But the discipline, consistency is being there. So, and then the follow up, it's and that goes to all of those things. So, Alberto, my hope is next Thursday that Alberto is going to be my special guest on. I'm always putting him on the spot on Tech Thursday. You think we'll be set up by then, Alberto? You think we'll be good?
Yeah, we can go through the. Yeah, I guess so. I need to meet with Gepard on Monday. So
Okay.
This is the thing. Frank asked
So you want to tell them what you're going to talk about?
Huh?
You want to tell them what we're talking about? Because I could tell them, but tell them what it's going to be about, because I think it's really, it goes back to a lot of the things that probably help you with your content and your communication and how you're getting engagement with your sphere of influence. Yeah.
So basically, I just wanted to show you that I'm here. This is there's no background. It's just I'm in the office, and part of the consistency is that since we started that Fire Friday, that's when I started kind of like doing my mailers and I made it a consistency that, you know what, I'm gonna do multiple things, you know, be at the call every Friday, but at the same time, that's when I take the time to schedule, you know, design and schedule those emails that I'm gonna be sending Saturdays and Sundays. So if you notice, I've been on, I want to say 99% of the calls on Fridays, and but that's also because that's, I commit myself, like, you know, whatever I'm going through, I have to send those pieces, those mail marketing. So, anyways, regarding the what Frank was saying, is that he asked me if I can go and talk about and show you guys the benefits of using the RPR, the Realtor Property Resource benefits that we have, and that's already included in the dues that we paid. And as a matter of fact, you know, we take it for granted here in El Paso, but that's something that in the New Mexico, that's kind of like a new feature for them. So they haven't had access to this, but we had it for a long time already. And I can tell you, not a lot of people use it. But this is the thing. So let's say you're working on a very specific subdivision, and you say, okay, how do I target those home sellers in that subdivision? You can go, and I started using RPR to create only the mailing labels for farming areas. But then you can go to a specific subdivision and then go to market trends and see what is happening, and then so you can create a market report of what is happening in general for the whole subdivision. But then the nice thing, it has a feature that it already has AI incorporated, so you can tell it to write a paragraph about the market based on what's closing, what's available, how many months it's taking to close, and it looks very professional. So all you have to do, just print the report, print the labels, and then just send them out to them. So that's something, and it looks very professional. So you don't have to, like, okay, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? How do I describe this? What is absorption? It's done for you. All you have to do is click, 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 print, and send. So those are very nice things that you can, if you do that on a consistency basis, eventually you're going to get some listings, and or you're going to have maybe some potential buyers in the but the key thing is that once you get the leads, like even with the leads that you get from that Frank is sending, you have to have a good follow-up system. You have to follow up also consistent, because if you call them 1-2 times and then you give up, then nothing's going to happen. So that's kind of like what we're going to be talking hopefully next Thursday.
So my hope, Alberto, is that I can come into your war room with you. Have you ever seen Alberto's office? He looks like he's in the CENTCOM 5 or something. He's got 10, probably like 3, but it looks like 10. I've been known to exaggerate before, but huge screens and I don't know what's going on there, lasers and stuff. So can we record it together in there and you can show me all the stuff versus on Zoom?
Yeah,
Alberto?
yes.
Okay, I'm coming to the war room. Okay, good. All right, who else? So thank you for sharing. And I want to cut it short, but I want to make sure we have enough time for Melissa. Who else has got some fire they want to share? Come on, guys. I've got some fire. We've got a couple of new people here. I'm very excited. I saw Audie. I saw Tony. I don't know who else we have that's new. I can't. My glasses on and I can't see. But yeah, but new people. I mean, I love that we have people here. I love all the people, but I can't do it. I'm too blind. Anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, because Melissa asked me, where is this background? So this is, again, I was setting up the whole computer, the whole, apps and everything. So this is a picture from back this spring when we were in the Czech Republic in Prague. So this is one of the nice pictures that I was able to take. So it's kind of like, I see the pictures and I'm grateful that, we did a very nice trip early this year.
If
Yeah,
you
so
ask
this is
Alberto
where it is.
if you ask Alberto about discipline and consistency, and you see that picture, Alberto also has all of his trips scheduled out for the next 5 years. Not just
Well-
like bucket lists. I mean, well, not the dates, but kind of where y'all want to go, right, Alberto?
It's 12 years. Well, because
12
my
years.
age,
12.
Wow.
Not 5, 12. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you, Alberto. All right, who else? Anyone else got fire?
Same.
Going once, going twice. Yeah, and I always see some of these people on here and I see like they got deals going on and stuff. They're just chicken. They don't want to do it. Let's get started. You ready?
No.
Yes, you are. We get started. We got to get you out of here and you go back up there and tell everybody how to do their job.
No.
So first thing first, born and raised in El Paso, 20 years in the business this year coming up.
21.
21. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning because you got a great background. Born in El Paso, pretty much stayed here, went to college here as well, right? What?
I went to San Antonio my freshman year,
Okay.
gained the freshman 15, came
Wow.
back.
Yeah.
And then I graduated from UTEP.
Okay.
In business, with international business and management.
Fantastic. And you came from a real estate family.
Yes.
Siblings?
My parents,
No, but do you have siblings as well?
I do. I'm
Okay.
the oldest of 5.
Oldest of
So,
5.
yeah.
Okay, great.
2 brothers and 2 sisters.
And so interesting, you wanted to get in real estate. Where my kids all said, I never want to be in real estate.
Honestly, I didn't want to get into real estate. I saw my parents doing the roller coaster ride on real estate, and it was like,
Right.
you know, one day we're like scrounging and making hot dog peanut butter sandwiches, and then the next day we're like going to Disneyland. So it was very inconsistency of the money, but you know, we were very spontaneous on trips and stuff. So like, oh, I wanted something that's a little bit more stable. I wanted the insurance. I wanted the 8 to 5 job, be home. And so, you know, that's why I went to college and then, you know, got my degree and everything. My mom was like, you know what? I graduated high school. She goes, you're gonna take your classes. She's like, you're gonna take your classes. And I was like, but I'm not planning on doing real estate. And she was just like, well, it's always something you can fall back on.
Right.
And I was like, fine, I do anything for my mom. She was like my backbone, whatever she's saying, I do it. So but I went to San Antonio. I come back for summer. I took another class, and then I finished off my classes at the Academy of Real Estate when it was right here at Montana. And then shortly after, you know, I came back. I finished up school here, and I graduated. But real estate actually did help me graduate from UTEP and
That's
start
great.
my family. So, you know, I was doing real estate the first 5 years. My dad was mentoring me, and then after that, my husband got deployed, and I kind of like, you know, held back a little bit in real estate, stayed home with the kids a little bit for, you know, about the year. And when he came back, he was like, babe, he's like, you had that passion in your eye each time you were doing real estate. He's like, just do it. I got you now. And I was like, okay. And so full force,
Love
I
it.
went back to real estate and been full time ever since. More than full time actually, right?
Yeah, right. You got a couple of full-time jobs. So
Short. That's a short version.
Yeah, I think my kids, and you could probably relate to that, my kids always, you know, were like, so on Saturday and Sundays and stuff, when like, you know, they had their friends' family, parents were home, they were like home, because they were all, you know, they work Monday through Friday. Yeah, we were out working, right? And so, you know, my kids always saw that and they were kind of like, yeah, I never want to do that, I don't work on the weekends or work every day or whatever. And so, but I'm sure my kids, if they didn't even know it, were experiencing it, because of course we had roller coaster rides, of course. Especially.
We all go through those roller coaster
Of
times.
course,
And after being in the business, you kind of know when to expect and when to prepare. And
right.
I mean, if you have a good mentor, they'll start preparing you for a lot of those roller coasters and market changes. Right, Alberto?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yes.
I started back in 2002 with Century 21. My mom was
Okay.
her own broker, her own company,
Okay.
Sunworld Real Estate, and her and my dad had a couple of agents. But at that time, they merged with and put their license with Century 21 APD.
Okay.
And so when I got my license, my mom said, you know, go there. They have one of the best trainings, and since I can't train you myself,
Right.
let's get you started there. And so I was there about 10 years. That's where I met a lot of our agents that are still in the business now. And then after that, you know, finally after 10 years, I started kind of like spreading my wings out and going to other brokers and seeing what else was able to be offered.
But without giving your age, you were very young. I mean, so you're like this kid basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
And of course, you know, I've said this to a lot of you
I don't know
guys.
if you know ABD, but I was like the youngest one there.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. It was like hands everywhere.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna say I could be the youngest one there. Anyway, okay, I didn't say that. Did I say that? I'm gesture. So interesting because, you know, one of the things I spoke to someone the other day, you know, we've had some youngins, as I say, that have come to join us. And it's always hard because obviously it's even harder for those guys, right? Because, you know, their friends are still either living at home or smoking pot every day or doing whatever that they do at 21, 22, 23, going to bars, you know. And so your pool, they may have a big friends group, right? But the actual qualified buyers are smaller. So how did you start building your business at a young age? Did you, I mean, were you generating leads? I mean, and of course, like it's hard to go after family and friends because your parents are already kind of like working that. So it's not like your mom and dad can like throw you a bone and say like, oh, where's so and so.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could, but you know what I'm saying.
Definitely.
It's different if they weren't mostly. How did you build your business?
Open houses.
Okay.
I was sitting for a new home builder, and I was started sitting there, and you know, it's hard when you're talking with somebody because they look at your age and they're looking at you like,
Yes.
how old are you? And I would get that all the time. And, you know, I would do a lot of research. I would, you know, look online. I know my inventory. I know my programs. I know the financing, the way, you know, be able to qualify them, tidbits, you know, be able to talk and tell them, but you know, but they don't know. And so
Right.
that would speak for itself. At the same time, I would always, you know, say I have an experience of 200 agents behind me,
Yes.
which was, and we have it right now with the home pros. We have the experience of 200 agents behind us, and of course our brokers. So you know, you always have that experience that you could also lean back and talk forward to.
Of
So
course.
it helped me when I was 20 years old.
Right.
So when I started real estate, so it was
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah.
So you started 20. I started 21. And yeah, when you're young in that age, it's really just trying to get that validation and getting people to like, you know, think like, because you know our world experience is only as much as we got, right? And so, I mean, you probably had an advantage. I had an advantage as well, because your parents were in the business, so you grew up in it. You watched it, you understood, you heard the talk, and then you were able to constantly have that mentoring and that, no, this is what you need to do.
Oh, my parents were foreclosure gurus.
Okay.
I have some other contracts now that they still written up, and it was like $1 down, like to get, they got the house with $1 down. It was just, those were awesome days when there was 5% commission. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I did a couple of deals at 5% commission from HUD Homes, and it was nice. But yeah,
I mean, still the price is like 59,000 probably.
yeah,
something,
exactly.
Right.
That was but so yeah, they had a whole different type of, you know, niche, and I was targeting over here the new homes because I was new and I needed some inventory. I needed something to sit at.
Sure.
And at that time, I would say my dad was like, he would sit at an open house, and you know how they say, you know, usually like maybe it's like a 10% chance you're actually gonna sell that house.
Right.
You know, because usually you're sitting there to get buyers.
And that's if you get a buyer.
Yeah, well, you know, buyers will walk in if you're marketing it right. But my dad was the kind of person that would come in and he would sell that open house.
Yeah.
And then not only to sell that open house, but he'd get cash. So it was really, really awesome. And I would see him work and I'd be like, hey, like, where can I find the cash buyers?
Wow.
And yeah,
so you really had a great kind of foundation and
that was
and
nice.
mentorship for sure. Yeah. I always say, you know, I learned more from my dad than, you know, any formal schooling ever did because he was a deal guy. That was what he always did. So so you got married. Were you guys high school sweethearts?
No.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that. But
No, so
but you
I
got married young.
right after high school I went to San Antonio
Right.
and it was at the University of Concord there.
Okay.
1 year I came back at my sophomore year
Okay.
and started working at Applebee's.
Okay.
Applebee's on Yarborough and I-10. And about being there about like 6-7 months there, that's when my husband started working there
I
too.
knew y'all were really young. So you were like 19
I
or
was
so, right?
19.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And 2 kids, right?
Three.
Oh, three.
Three, our
Yeah,
oldest
sorry.
is 19, and then my middle child's 17, and then my baby is 13 years old.
Gotcha.
So yes.
And your husband recently retired, right?
He did, he retired from the military,
20 years of service too?
yes.
So you guys both have kind of like, 2 decades under your belt.
Yeah.
Now, does he have any,
Technically, yeah.
does he have any,
That's all I want to retire to.
any desire to get into real estate?
He did at one point, and he started thinking, okay, when I retire, I want to go to real estate with you. And then he went and tried to do like the lender side of it, and he started doing some of that studying during quarantine.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, this is just not for me. He's more of
Right.
a hands-on person now, and so he's got interest of still like driving me around and stuff, but not really getting into the
Professional
business.
chauffeur.
Although, he sometimes he'll call me and he'll be like, babe, he's like, in this area, the houses are about this much, right? And I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, my friend was thinking of selling his house. And I'm like, don't say anything, like, give him my number. Do not practice real estate.
Of course.
So I know a lot of wives and spouses have that problem because we talk to them so much about our life, what's going on, this
Right.
deal, that deal. They almost become like, known to it. So,
Sure. Amazing. So you go through, you have the kids, he's deployed, so you're juggling a lot. Real estate's
yeah, I just
kind
had
of on the
my,
back burner. Were you selling, but you were just?
I
those-
had just had my son,
Okay.
and he was 6 weeks old when
He's
he left.
your baby.
My baby.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, when he went to Iraq and he served in Iraqi freedom, so.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, and he was there for the year. And so at that point I was working at the hospitals.
Okay.
And I didn't really have anybody to take care of the kids and juggle the kids from, having one parent gone already.
Sure.
So I resigned from that position, and I just kind of just take that year to just, stay home and take care of the kids, yeah.
And so, so when did your business start really, when did you see your business, or, we're listening to Alberto talk about his consistency, his follow-up and things, and you said, well, you kind of were doing it as half-assed. Can we say half-assed? Is half-assed a fair word? Is that?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
How was it? You weren't
You're
doing it
doing to
full
the
time.
fullest capability that you can,
There you
because
go.
as a mother,
Yeah.
You can't always do a 40-hour job,
True.
because you're a full-time mother as well.
No, that's much
If
better.
you can do as most as you can, you struggle to try to juggle both, but the balance is sometimes a little, and we all fight with balance.
Of course. So you're doing it, to the best of your ability, we'll say that. And then when was the point where you kind of said you turned it on, was when he came back, or when you got to the point where you were able to get additional help with childcare and things like that, and you said, okay, I've got this license, I've gotten all this amazing, just mentorship and training from, and foundation and development from my parents. When was it the time that you started really doing that? What year were you? 5 years in the
Well,
business? or 10 years in
I
the
got
business?
into it, and I wouldn't say I hustled.
Mhm.
I was 20 years old trying to prove
Sure.
myself in the industry. So I had a lot of backup. Now the Tias at Century 21 were always there to help me out.
That's awesome.
Rest in peace, Miss Sylvia. She was a big mentor as well there too. And so I just for me that was my thing, And so when I do something, I was going 100%. And then when I had the kids, it kind of started to be a little bit more of a full-time job, like a full-time mother job, split them in both. But it was always something like, you're the main breadwinner, so you have to try to work. When it started becoming to where you're not really pushing to be that main breadwinner, you start thinking about, okay, now when my husband came back and said, "Can you do this? I got you." It was like, now I could do it because
Sure.
because it's coming from my heart now. I love it. I don't have to go and work it. I don't have to try to force that sale or make that close. And all of a sudden your mentality starts changing on how you start doing your presentations and how you start, selling and buying and getting houses. So you're not just going for the close anymore. Because there is a lot of sharks out there, and you're going for the close, especially you've got bills to pay.
You said something, I didn't interrupt you, but I think a couple of our newer agents that are on here heard me say this. To me, it is the most, and you're 20 years in the business, so I think you could appreciate this. One of the questions I always ask brand new people when they're coming on board, they're getting business, they interview, whether they come with us or whatever, is, do you have that spousal support? Because if you don't, then this business doesn't work in many cases. You've got to have those spouses, I believe, that really support you and want and champion you
100%. Yeah.
and pray you, because especially if you got kids and everything else, and especially Because again, if there's used to you being in that 9 to 5 role, not you, but whoever in that 9 to 5 role, and then all of a sudden, or being at home, this job, unfortunately, there's no set hours. There's no, it's kind of like,
Well, 100%, I have spousal support 100%
I know
with me, but it's more like family support. You're running your own business here in real estate, but you also are running a business at home. So my husband's my CFO, I'm a CEO, my kids are also, they are also sacrificing when you're gone till like 8 o'clock at night. So putting everybody in communication, I don't know, hey, you know what, Melissa, I told my kids, hey, I'm moving forward and I'm gonna start doing the women's council.
Right.
It's gonna take some time out of our time. And being transparent with your family, letting them know where your aspirations and your goals are. They support you and they'll back you and they'll understand you when you can't be there for that one game or you're missing, you can't drop them off at the friend's house, and they figure, you start working together as a team at home as well, because in order for them to help you in your business and support that, they need to know what you're doing, what you're going. So there's got to be transparency, there's got to be communication with your family, and so 100% spousal support. My husband, anything I want, there's some crazy ideas that I've done last year, and he was like, okay, let's do it, and I was like, okay, total fail, I'm sorry, let's move forward. Next thing. So
and I think spousal is the wrong word. I think you actually said the right word. It's really family support, because it really is, because it's got to be buy-in, because the last thing you also need is for that child or family member, whoever it may be.
Now,
or partner,
I think you were like thinking about financially. Do you have any financial support or a second income or something like that? When you're getting into real estate, you do want. I mean, I've had a lot of people come and tell me, "Hey, Melissa, I want to start real estate. How do I go about do it? Like, am I gonna like make millions of dollars starting off?" And I'm transparent and I'm honest with them, and I'm like, "Look, I was like, what position are you in financially, and where are you gonna come? Are you going to like struggle if you don't make a closing in the next month? Are you, check to check right now? What is your position? Maybe get some savings together." And you really gotta get in and find a mentor who teaches you how to financially budget yourself and, be able to consistently be able to prepare yourself for the possibility of a downfall in the economy, or, right now the rates went up and some sales went down. So where a lot of agents got in last year and they were like, boom, like just money coming out, and
Of course.
money was going out, but then it's like you forget the whole, hey, let's pay up ahead at a time just in case this closing doesn't happen, or this closing, or we gotta put, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, you gotta diversify that. You're just, you just need to really look overall, and again with your CFO or your spouse, and be able to really look at your budget and be like, okay, how much can we afford for how long? This is how many closings you need to do. You start getting a goal in mind so that okay, minimum I need this to 3 4 closings monthly so that we can get this, and still have our lifestyle.
And it's so important you say that, because it's funny, because we did a announcement this morning for a new agent, not new, but new agent to us. It's Tony who's just joined us, but one of the things that AI, and yes, I use AI. We're talking about a career or job or whatever it might be, right? And I'm always trying to refine that word, because really I don't like to say that this is a career. I don't like to say that this is a job. This is a business, and you are a business and a business owner, and you've got to treat that way. And it's really hard, because ultimately you have to go and look and say, okay, well, do we have enough money to cover this next month? What does that look like? What happens if, in many cases, many agents, this is an industry problem, they've already spent their commission that they're getting before it closes. And, and that's the devastation you see sometimes when people have a deal that falls apart. They're like, oh my God, what am I do? I was going to pay my mortgage payment, I was going to pay my car payment, I was going to pay for our vacation, whatever it might be, right? And I think financial is important, but I think the time is just as important. I think, a lot of people are sometimes even okay with the financial piece. It's the time that's taken away. And I think that goes back to what I said earlier, my kids was the time, because they don't really understand the financial things. They're really young, and I was selling, and it's like, Dad's gone all the time. And
So one thing that I was told when my kids were younger too, and I started the business and I was doing open houses, I had one of the agents, one of the tias, who told me, look, Melissa, she goes, your kids are only young ones. They're the time's gonna pass by. and money can always be made up. You can always come back, you know, get that hustle back, but enjoy them while they're little. Enjoy them what they're doing right now.
Nice.
And it was some of the best advice I ever had, because I was, you know, I did get, well, I mean, I get into my workaholic modes, and it's, you know, well, you won't see me at home, and they're like, mom's a workaholic. And then I'll go back to like, you know, okay, I'll come back to reality. But when they don't see me and I start to miss out on some of the games and stuff with my kids, and you know, you just start to realize like I'm waiting for a potential customer, not even a client, and I just missed my daughter's championship game. And you know, and it happens because sometimes you got to sacrifice some of those parties, some of those games,
Yes.
to be able to put your kids a little bit forward. But you know, be transparent with them, talk to them, and try to make it not often, not daily, and you know, try to be there for them, because that ultimately does work out, does help you with the balance of life when you realize it.
So let's talk about time. Let's move fast forward here, and I appreciate you sharing all that. And I think what you're giving us such great, valuable advice to all these people, because I think in the day we can tell stories, but you know, you're really helping them with things that, you know, a lot of people struggle with.
There was some things I was blessed that I had my dad to be able to mentor me for the first 5 years of my real estate career. So I was really, really blessed to have that. But I also was like, I tell you, a workhorse. So I was just like, stay down, you know, make money. We got splits to pay. So
Sure.
my broker and everybody else was like, just boom, 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 you know, and hustle. And they motivate me. And I was consistent like Gilberto, and I was bringing in the money and making things. But with the 20 years that I've had, and the last 5 being more, I guess, trying to be more significant and successful, you start realizing and looking up and looking around, and you're like, okay, you're just not like Seabiscuit. You're looking around at the industry as a whole. And that's when you realize all these committees, all of these organizations, all the networking that you're missing out of. And then you can always get business from referrals here, from referrals there, working with different industry partners and getting referrals from them. And all of a sudden, you're not working workhorse, you know, and losing hours and open houses. Now you're socializing, you're networking, you're building a sphere of influence in the industry of real estate. And ultimately, you want to be top of mind there too, because you don't want to be 58 or 105 or 95. I don't want to retire in an open house working. I want to build that referral clientele, not only from my clients, because you know what, I don't know if you went to the Realtor rally, but whatever Joshua said out there, he said visibility is going to triumph. Visibility is going to triumph ability. And so you need to be able to.
That's why I always say you gotta be there. That's what I say, visibility.
And I'm sorry, I'm really bad at doing the Facebook thing and being the social. I used to be really good at it. I got out of it for a minute, but I'm trying to get into the light of it again. But you know, you gotta adapt or die, unfortunately. Yes. And so you know, it'll work that way. And when I got into Women's Council 10 years ago, 7 years ago, it was like, whoa, you know, you started meeting people who were sharing experiences with you that, you know, you're not giving them a split, they're not your mentors, but they're freely advising you and giving you information. And you're like, really? You know, my dues pay this? I get this from Gilbert. I can actually do that without paying extra money from another program. And, you know, all these tools and trainings start coming where you start learning more deeper into knowledge and start realizing, opening up your eyes to what Realtor really stands for on a national level. So it's really exciting. And so I hope to bring a lot of that to you, to home pros as well.
So look around, not like Seabiscuit. I love that.
Yes.
If those who don't know what Seabiscuit, that was the horse. And,
yeah.
And of course their job is to look straight ahead. And I think that's, I've never heard that. That's such a great. I want to get to Women's Council. I want to get to Women's Council, excuse me. I want to get to Gilbert. We got a shorter time, but I want to kind of give a quick. When I first met you, I remember talking to Penny one night, and she loves you, by the way. But one of the things that she had really said to me was, she said, you know, I know Melissa was brought up in a real estate family, but she goes, I really think she does a lot of or she continues in real estate and wants to thrive in real estate because it's a tribute to her parents. And is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do a lot. My mom had a lot to help me start in the real estate and influence me. I mean, man, I talk about my parents making matrimonios all the time, and when I first started for the first like 10 years, it was like a shadow, you know, I was a shadow, and I was Nick and Martha's daughter, so I felt like I had to kind of like, you know, own up to that name.
Right.
And it took me a while to change from Melissa Munoz to Melissa Urbina, so I was like Melissa Munoz Urbina.
Right.
So I started in the real estate industry as Melissa Munoz for the longest time, and I couldn't let go of that too because of, you know.
Well, you know, from horses, why wouldn't you ride that horse, you know?
Yeah.
Almost now.
But yeah, it is a tribute to my parents and what
Your
the
late
legacy
parents,
to be able to
they're both
continue.
deceased, right?
They did pass away.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's beautiful, and I think, you know, that was something that, I don't know why it touched me, and I know Penny same way. She just said, you know, I love that girl. I love that she does that. So I
I
think that's
came
great.
to Penny maybe about 5 years ago, and I said, look, Penny, I got some aspirations of my own that I want to be able to move forward with. At one point, can't tell you when, I can't tell you what, but I need you to be in my corner when it comes time to do it and help me get there. And she's always been able to be like, yes, you know,
Yes.
I got you. And so,
And she does.
you know, I'm a person of loyalty, and here I am still 5 years later, I'm like, Penny.
We won't let her go. And I'm like she's not about to let her go. I'll keep her here. I think that's great. Okay, so let's thank you for sharing that. Let's fast forward to this year. So you got a big year coming up.
I do, yes.
So this last year you were president-elect, and that was a big year as well. So that changed the dynamics, I assume, for your family, for your real estate business and everything.
Actually, President-elect is this year.
This year, I mean, yes, that's what I mean. Because really,
Yeah.
it's about 3 weeks that you're president.
Yes, I start
Okay.
my presidency November 16th.
Yeah, okay, got you, 2.5 weeks, whatever. So how has that changed? Well, I'd like to hear the kind of the rise up. You started, you said about 7 years ago is when you got WCR. Was that kind of your first kind of infiltration, such a word to use, but into kind of that side of like, hey, I want to give back to the business that's given me so much. I want to learn from all these giants among giants,
Yes.
and whether it's WCR or an association. Tell me about that, if
Well,
you can.
and I started looking up, you know, looking around, you start talking and meeting a lot more other successful top producers, and you're like, what are they doing, you know,
Yeah.
right? And or what do I need to do, you know? The recipe calls for whatever the recipe calls for, and it makes the same cake. You want to try to follow that recipe as well. Sometimes I think Tony Robbins says that, you know, follow the
That's
recipe. And so I'm looking around, you know, researching some of the agents, and I'm like, okay, what is some of the similarities that everybody's following, and everybody's very involved in something, whether it be an organization here in the real estate industry or organization out in the community.
Okay.
It's something that you're giving back, but you're, you know, at the same time, you're also expanding your network, your referral business.
Sure.
And their business does not slow down. If it does stop, it's momentum that you're gaining, you know, so you learn to balance it with the organization, because you never know when you're gonna have other life events happen that you're gonna need to balance, you know. So even though you're going to a committee, you're going to a meeting, whether it's once a month, you learn to time manage yourself, you learn to schedule yourself properly, you learn to respect other people's time and respect your time as well. So it does teach you a lot of tools that help you to become overall that successful realtor as well.
So, and I love that. And you know, it's interesting. People always ask, I think a lot of times, how Penny and I met, and because I came somewhat from like the franchise world, being a Remax franchisee and then working in Realty for many years, and then running JPAR. But that was one of the big things that was always from the owner perspective, was that, you know, they needed that network. They needed those people to learn. And so when I first came in a relationship with Penny, that I became a bit of that as an outside piece, because she was like, okay, I'm involved here, I get my information, get more into that, but tell me what else is going on, what does this mean, and stuff like that. And I think that was something that really, you know, now that I've come into this different role here and partnering with her and Ted, is, you know, I thrive for that, or thrive's not the right word, I long for that kind of, like I need that interconnectivity sometimes of, and I'm a part of some different mastermind groups and things like that, which I get some of that. But my point is, I think for those that don't understand that, you got to really get into it to understand it, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, I kind of joked with Melissa earlier. I said, okay, I did my serving. I did about 10 years of serving, which was, you know, the board of directors. I did state, national, local. I did it. But there's a part about that of being part of something that is really important. And is that what has led you to where you are today? Whether it's WCR or GetPar?
The urge to serve.
Yeah.
I've always had a serving heart, so I see that, you know, my kids are a little grown up now too, and we've been serving our kids and those who are mothers too. You serve your kids, you serve your family, serve God, and then, you know, it's opening up your eyes and being a little bit more aware of what and how things are coming. There's been so many changes in the economy these last 10 years. It's like, why? I always ask the question, why? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Like, why did that contract change there? And so I've always been a person of curiosity, and I just don't want to just, okay, well, I guess that's what we have to write it now. I guess that's what we have to do it now. So for me, it was more of the knowledge. I wanted to know behind the scenes why things are happening and how come they're happening this way. That way I can better explain and educate my clients as well.
And for those that say either A, I don't have enough time for that, or B, that's not making me money, what do you say to that?
Well, that's where the tools come in and you start learning. So if we all have the same tools and we all have the same, I guess we all have the same MLS, we all have the same tool, we all have the same 24 hours. So, you know, it just depends what you do with it and how you're scheduling yourself around it. So you gotta be able to time manage yourself and what you're prioritizing it. So if this isn't a priority for you right now, I respect that, I understand that. But what is it that you're needing in your business that maybe we can fill that in for you or help fill that?
I don't find too many people that are probably getting ready to go down your decade that you're gonna do like I did, that can never sit there and say, oh, I lost so much money because I wasn't doing my business as much. In most cases, you look at politicians, guys, very similar. I mean, I'm just saying and I'm not saying you're a politician, I'm just saying many politicians' net worth actually increase. Why? Because the opportunities present themselves that, you know, and I think it's the same in this role. And I think about all my friends that have served and gone all the way from, you know, local, state to maybe even serving some, you know, in many cases, their opportunities increased because it's the connectivity, it's the networking, it's the people, it's the education of learning, saying, oh my gosh, I could do this. And so I respect what you're saying, and I tell a lot of people, like, you know, I can appreciate some of the things. I don't have the time for that, especially if they're juggling family, maybe a second job, if they're a dual career. I learned yesterday a dual career agent. I never heard that before in my life. Dual career. Have you heard of that?
He has two jobs.
Yeah, well, that's what this guy called me. He's called me. I'm a dual career agent. I said, oh, it's new. I've never heard that before. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, so if they're networking and they're struggling with their business and they can't, you know, give time to it, you see the successful business leaders, and at the point sometimes you're being asked a little bit to serve in a position that maybe you're not ready for, and that's where you have a mentor, you have somebody who's bringing you into that organization, and whether they're bringing you in just a member just so that you can get those tools, but not in a position of leadership at that point yet, because you need to learn to be able to balance and get ready for the balance that you're going to need when it is time to do events, time to do budgets and marketing and, you know, shaking hands, kissing foreheads, because, you know, it takes levels and it takes time. So, you know, that's kind of like, I guess what somebody had told me earlier is like the levels of growth or the stages of growth, and you get into that leadership pipeline. So if your aspiration is to at one point be on the board of directors or be in the Women's Council board of directors as well, then what are you doing now? Are you joining that committee as a member so that you know what the committee does, what the organization's mission statement is, what you can get out of it, what the purpose is, and you start, you know, getting some knowledge, knowing where you can start get some of that information. And like we were saying it earlier, I mean, Gilbert has a lot of resources right now that we pay with our dues. We pay a lot of dues quarterly and annually. So take a look at all of the tools that we have at our fingertips. You know, there's listing, marketing, RPR. You've got this room for your podcast or Facebook Lives, interviews, things like that. So you could start adapting to it and start learning. So you don't really have to go and pay for some of these things and try to say, okay, well, she's making money, that's why she can afford this. no, there are tools that maybe are not at the point for 5, 10 leaders or 10 agents, but there are tools that can help you succeed as well.
I think the other thing is there are so many different associations that, or different groups that you can get involved, whether it's a committee to your point, or whether, I mean, you've got NARA, you've got ARIA, you've got LGBTQ Alliance, I think that's what they call it. You've got, there's a bunch of these different groups out there that, and my suggestion always is I think Maisel and I are having a conversation about this the other day. She came, she's very involved, we're excited about supporting her next year in NARA, and is the relationships you're going to build in these, number one, you're going to get so much valuable mentorship and coaching and training, and you're not even knowing you're doing it because you're going to be among the best of the best. You're going to be among your peers. I mean, I think about your group just at WCR, you've got some heavy hitters in there.
Women's council,
Yes, yeah. And so, and then of course, at the BOD, I mean, you're dealing with people that have been here forever. You got a lot of broker owners.
Up there.
What?
Yeah. I was calling them the head honchos earlier.
The head honchos are up
I have
there.
to go up there and say,
Yeah.
"Hi."
You're a head honcho also.
No.
So we've made this more probably about serving than about the business, but let me ask you this.
When you start with a serving heart, sometimes
Yes.
all that business comes to you too.
Yes.
You keep producing, you keep working, you keep yourself active in the real estate community. Your energy starts attracting all this work as well, and you're getting calls when you didn't have your phone's been dead for weeks. So I mean, I'm sitting here and I've 3 calls already. I'm like, okay, but it's you set yourself and you schedule yourself. You respect your time as well, and then you make your time for your calls and callbacks, and your energy that you're providing, and the energy of a giving heart, a serving heart, and you're here. I mean, for me, it's not only serving on committees, but I love mentoring people too, or talking to them, or advising them, or just helping on the other transactions as well. So it always comes back tenfold.
Okay, couple final questions. Thank you so much for sharing that. What do you know today that you wish you knew when you first started?
So as I mentioned to Mari, probably a couple of weeks ago, to me, I think I've grown a lot more, even as a real estate industry leader, is in women's council. So if I would have joined women's council maybe 20 years ago when I first started, I would have had a lot more advice from other women who were mothers at the same time and balancing work and life. And I had the support that I've had these last couple of years. It would have probably just been 10 years ago that I'd probably be in this position that I am now.
Can I say something?
So-
I've only known you a little over a year. I feel you've grown so much in the last year, and maybe it's just because we're friends. I know you, but just how you present, how you speak, you speak, and I think that's been a huge plus. Just that being in that president-elect role, I can only imagine really helped propel you some.
Well, I've been in a role of leadership. I was leading a builders team at one point, and so I've had a team, and I've closed communities and houses, and I know Alberto knows for that too. Some people still have me on their phone as the team leader for that, or the listing agent for that builder. But I was speaking in front of people. I do training, so it comes
Maybe I've
really
just seen
natural
you
to
out
me.
there more. Maybe that's it. You're really good
I
at it.
backed out from that part, and it kind of took a toll on me as well. So I got out of the face of real estate because I didn't want to be connected to that. A lot of my digital footprints are still connected to it. So I was trying to kind of cut the connection there for a while, and so I had to kind of get behind the scenes. But no, and quarantine doesn't help. You get that little social anxiety, and you're like coming back. And you're having to deal with life at the same time. But no, I have grown a lot now, and I'm ready for the position, and I'm going to be taking forward in 2024.
I love it. Well, you're a giant among giants, and I think no, I mean, again, just maybe it's just been watching you from in this role the last year. It's been really impressive. So the second thing would be is this is a question we always ask, and it's a little different for you because you came from a real estate background, but what has real estate given back to you? You've been in this 20 years. Could you think if you went a different route, stayed in the medical field or whatever, I mean, how would your life look today versus, what it is? I mean, is there anything you can pinpoint? Sometimes people can't. It's okay.
Oh my goodness, I owe real estate everything. I owe my mom for getting into real estate, and she said something you can always fall back on, and I plan to use that as my backup or second job or whatever it needed. And real estate got me through college. It literally got me through college. I was giving birth and I was closing at the same time. It's got my family started. It helped acquire our first house and just have our family. And so it helped me support my husband at the time when he needed to get into the position that he is now, where now he can support me and we can support each other and still be able to live a life that we want to retire off of. So real estate I do always love real estate a lot. And it's a passion of mine, and I love to share it with others, and I never try to keep anybody from getting into real estate. As a matter of fact, I'm always trying to hey, my customers, I'm like, you should do real estate, and they're like, what do you mean? And I try to get them into it because there's enough work, there's enough inventory for all of us.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Let's open it up. You did great. That was an amazing story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous. I
No,
don't like to make it about me.
No, you were perfect. Anyone have any comments or questions for Miss Melissa?
I could start again.
Hey, Melissa, Stephanie. She's always been a sweetheart, always. We started back together back at KB, and she's always been a sweetheart. She's always had that happy face like that, always.
Thank you. Just wanted to make the essay.
Now you're an awesome lady.
Thank you.
Stephanie. Alberto, do you have something to say? No, Alberto's
Yeah.
at the top.
I just want to say that I don't remember Melissa from when I started, because I started back also in 2002, but I used to hang out with her dad, and we used to do like crazy open houses 7 days a week. That's what we used to do back then, and it was where we were getting pretty much all the clients, just doing open houses from the morning. We had 2 shifts, remember, Melissa?
Yeah.
So in the morning and in the afternoon, but it was until it got too dark. And so that's how I started, and I did pretty good from the beginning. But it was because we were doing open houses. We were trained, to do open houses like 7 days a week. I have sold properties doing open houses on Thanksgiving Day, on Christmas Eve, on holidays, on any days. So we were but we started back then, and that was the big thing. I mean, I don't know the new agents, if they're wondering what was it like to be an agent back then. And I just want to share a couple of things real quick. That when we started, first of all, we had interest rates in the low sevens, so 7.25, and of course properties were there, somewhere in the 50s to maybe high 70s, low 80s. So that was like what new homes were selling when Tierra Celeste was barely started. And so we, at that time, there was no such so many apps for technology. We had to carry contracts, blank contracts. I always carry like 10 blank contracts because you had to be ready.
Yep.
You could have a buyer showed up. You had to write the contract right there on the spot and get the earnest money. And
It was
also
hard for me to transfer over to Don for the longest time. I was stuck.
so there was no DocuSign. You had to spend a lot of time face to face with clients. We used to spend time with clients. I'm not kidding. Sometimes 11 p.m., midnight. The latest, I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I spent with some clients, and so you had to also know back then there was no Lone Star app to calculate, like different mortgage payments. You had to have the very deep understanding of the approval process. We have to pre-qualify those buyers. You have to know the ratios. We had a specific real estate calculators that we used to do.
Ignacio used to have a formula help us
Yes.
with that. We would use his little
So
pointers.
we knew like based on the interest rate, if interest rate will go 1%, what your amount, your monthly payment will be. So we had to be experts on a lot of things, and then like carry contracts from the different builders, because you never know. You had to be ready on the spot to make the deal happen. There was no such thing like I'm gonna think of. You had to like close the deal back then. Really, really nice. We had the smartphones back then. Remember, Melissa? There were the Blackberries. We barely had internet. I mean, for email, there was no web browsing. There was no such thing.
You had to schedule yourself.
Yeah.
Figure out with the map and highlight it and be like, okay.
Of course.
There was no Google Maps. The MLS was really it was on the desktop. There was no mobile version, so you have to be either at your house or the office to access the MLS. So the maps, we used to carry the maps, and then I used to go to the office or print a copy of the route that I was going to take to show the properties. But back then we were more in control. We were still using, some of us, fax machines, and even some people were still using typewriters to type the contracts if you want to write something really nice. But we used to drive people in our cars to show properties. I haven't done that in a long time. And so it was very interesting market, but I will tell you that we had to be very knowledgeable about inventory, about financing, the deals. I mean, interest buy downs were like the big hit, so you have to know 2-1 buy downs, everything from like very deep understanding. It was a very interesting market. That's how we were really trained back then to do the really hard work. Right now, we just get the call from the buyer, oh, I want to see these 3 properties. And then we just request on showing time.
Yeah.
And it's just much easier today. But so it was a very interesting market. But I know Melissa since back then.
No, that's a great point. I mean, but to your point, Alberto, back in the day, we really held all the cards because we had all the data. The only data that was really even out there in the early 2000s and late 90s was Realtor.com. IDX wasn't even a thing until 99. And so it was interesting how that transition from us having really the data, which was key to the consumer getting it, how it changed things. But
so going back to what both of you guys are saying, really makes you think on a real estate point, what makes you stand out from the next real estate agent besides social media, that you're better at social media? And it's usually knowledge. It's educating yourself. It's being on the front line and knowing that why and how come. And the customers respect that when you're explaining a contract formally rather than just sending them documents to sign.
That's it. You can be the consultant and the advisor. Besides just the door opener, you're going to go a lot better in this business.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, Alberto. That was great. I know we're at 10:15 now, so, or 10, I can't read it, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have a comment or a question for Miss Melissa? We've kept her 15 minutes longer from her BOD meeting.
And by the way, serving for our board, for you all
Yes.
next year in 2024, and I'm honored to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ruth.
Hey, mamas. I want to say that I love Melissa very much, and I think you're a great person, mamas. And her her leadership skills are amazing. She made me feel, even though I'm just chair this year, I was gonna go for the events director, but I didn't want to mess up, so I just thought I'd sit back and see how it, how it is. Thank you, mamas. And she's always made me feel just as important as everybody else, and I love that about her. So yeah, that's Melissa.
You.
Hi, Frank. Hi, everybody. All right, I'm done.
Thank you, Ruth. That was great. Anybody else?
I wanna say something.
Hey, girl. There's
I
a
would
big
actually, hey girl, I actually would love to see if I can get like 5 minutes of Melissa's time one-on-one because I got a lot of value with you sharing, your how you've grown with WCR. How, I see you everywhere, I see you involved WCR. I literally see you at Get Par, like, in and out, whether it's for our meetings or your meetings WCR or mine with NARIP or whatever. But because I don't know how I'm gonna do this with a 1-year-old, but yet you figured it out with 3 kids and you're president. So I mean, I don't have it in my mind right now to become president of NARIP or any association, but seeing you makes me question why not. I mean, she can do it. I can do it too then.
You could do it, girl. You could do it. Susan, but definitely anytime. I'm only a phone call away. For sure. You can find me mainly on the east side. I'd love to visit with you. I'm actually signing up for NARA. So they've always had my full support. We'll be there supporting you too.
Okay, awesome. Well, best of luck with everything and thank you so much for sharing with us everything that you did today.
And you can do it. You can do it. I had my baby with me. I tell you, he was 1 year old too, and he's actually could be he's like my only hope right now to be a real estate agent. Because he was out there showing houses with me. He was, we would take him down, and in the real estate community, it's not like something that's frowned upon. It's a family business, and they take their kids, we take our kids. So you'll be okay. It's just the way you time everything out. And of course, all the support and talk to your family about it and the transparency with your CFO and your kids. So, yeah.
All right, that's all. Thank you. Anybody else, guys? All right, well, we'll still pass it closed. Thank you again. That was awesome.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you. Besides our giant, super mega agent, wonderful agent.
That's why I hide in the background.
2024.
Like, what join Home Pros? I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna for 5 years.
2024 WCR president and 2024 board of directors for Greater El Paso Association of Realtors. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
I'll let you get back to your
the
meeting.
support.
Well, everybody have a great weekend. Thank you all so much. We'll see you all soon.
See you at November 9th, hopefully.
November 9th, we'll be getting some out on that.
Melissa.
Hello,
Bye.